All right, y'all. So now that we have Braid and now that we also have Diesel in the game, these are the last 2025 characters to release because we have New Year's coming up literally in less than 2 weeks, like a week and maybe a weekend, a little bit under, and then like a half or whatever, right? And today's video, we did this last year. I want to rank all the characters that released in 2025. Basically like what characters were good and what characters were bad. Expect this tier list to be quite interesting because I think 2025 was the absolute best year for a lot of these characters, right? Or just in Nikke in general, right? I think like a lot of the broken meta characters today, or a lot of the more useful niche characters today, came out this year, and you guys are probably going to notice that yourself, right? So in SS, we're going to have the absolute meta characters that can be used in everything or almost everything. In S, we're just going to have the very powerful characters that are like secondary picks but like are still very, very good. In A, we're going to have those good characters, not too bad, not too broken, but just like pretty good. In B, we're going to have those characters who have just like that one niche. And then in C, it's just going to be characters that are just like like they're just not really useful or not really good at all, right? So yeah, SS, meta. S is just like the great characters. A is like the good, not too bad, not too broken characters. B, niche. C, yeah. Subscribe and like. Let's start off. So I think Arcana automatically is a B tier character. She's really good for Isabel, but that's her niche. Like, it's only Isabel. She doesn't work with nobody else but Isabel, right? And it's just as simple as that. She's not making Isabel godlike. If she was making Isabel like broken, then it would be a different story for her, because it would just be a different story for her. But she's just not doing anything for Isabel to like be still used, right? I mean, I guess she's making Isabel usable in the sense of like Isabel's not doing like respectable damage, but it's just not something that I would really recommend. I think K is a character that's just like, you could build her up and you're probably gonna see something from her, but I just don't think she's good realistically. She's not like the worst character in the game, but in 2025, I would say she was probably one of the worst releases, which is sad because we waited literally 2.5 years to get her, but it is what it is. When we're looking at Eve, I think Eve is realistically one of those S tier characters. I think Eve is a character that is realistically phenomenal in a lot of the content, bosses, mobs, tower, whatever. Obviously when you build her up and when she's type advantage, she's really good there. I just don't think she's like that godlike broken, right? But I think she could either be in the high A tier or S tier. Maybe I'll put her in the high A tier until like the end, right? Wait, broken, very, very good. Yeah, secondary picks, I would put her up there. Raven, I'm gonna put Raven in the SS tier this year. I think Raven is very, very meta for iron bosses. I know technically Eve has more use than Raven overall. But I think if I'm looking at Raven, I'm looking at Raven as a bossing character. And if we're talking about that, then she is very, 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 very good, right? And even outside of bosses, like even against the mobs, she still will put up some numbers, which is quite crazy because you would not think when you read her kit, right? It seems like it's actually impossible for her to do damage if she's not fighting a boss, but she is actually very, very powerful when fighting a boss. So yeah, I'm gonna put in the SS tier. Same thing with Dorothy. I think Dorothy is another great character, the summer Dorothy that came out this year. Probably the strongest water DPS in the game, and she kind of shifted what the shotgun meta team is. In my personal opinion, I think she changed what that is, because realistically, it's no longer a shotgun meta team. It's really just her team. Like whatever you would put for Dorothy's best team is just the shotgun team. So I think she did transform it. But yeah, strongest water DPS in the game. So there's that. I'm gonna have to put Eleg in the S tier. Very, very, very good for the water characters of the game. A really good support for them. I think she's just like a glorified guillotine, like literally what guillotine needed to be from last year's winter event. I think that's what Eleg is, and that's why Eleg is so high up there. Favorite item, Polly, I could put it in B tier. Like it's nothing really crazy. I'm actually gonna put it in C tier. It's not anything that crazy. I'm not gonna use it in PvP. I'm not gonna use it in PvE. It's not really that good. Realistically, it's just not really that good in my opinion. A favorite item, Tove. I mean, I want to put her in the S tier just because like her favorite item didn't really change her kit too much. I feel like it just made her kit easier to proc her stuff. Like her kit's kind of the same, just now she can proc her stuff a lot easier than what it was before, even though realistically before was not that difficult, but sure. I think Toph is like a staple now in the game because this Dorothy does exist, and this combination of like Dorothy and Toph is just actually like a meta composition. Like they've made the shotgun team meta, right? You guys, if you've been playing for a long time, you know Nikke has been trying to make the shotgun team a meta team for like years now, and after this Dorothy dropped this Toph's favorite item, it finally happened. Julia, I'm gonna put in A. I think Julia is a very decent character. I think for Iron, she can actually put up numbers with her favorite item. Other than her favorite item, not so much, but I do think with her favorite item, she can put up decent numbers, just not anything too crazy. But like, I feel like she could put up, I don't want to say nothing too crazy. She could definitely put up numbers, but she's not like a first, second, or even third pick. I could use her and probably clear because her damage is actually going to be useful and help me out, but it's not like, it's more of like, oh, I want to use her for the fun of it. I think Bey is also an A-tier character. I think Bey, if we're talking about just her as a tank and what she's able to do as a tank, she is still the best tank in the game, in my personal opinion. Like, I would never consider Crown a tank, right? If I'm talking about a character who can actually keep my team alive for longer than 5 seconds, Bey is the go-to character, and her favorite item was really a big buff to her. She got all the stuff she was missing before her favorite item, which is like healing and rebuilding her cover and not needing to use biscuit and stuff like that. All her favorite item gives her all of that. Tactical trio, I'm just gonna put all of them in the I'm just gonna put all of them up there. That team is way too strong. That team is meta. I see some people in my comments sometimes saying, well, nobody uses tactical trio, nobody uses tactical trio. I mean, it's like, be real with yourself. Why wouldn't people use tactical trio if they're very, very meta, especially when it comes to win code enemies? You get what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. Bunny 8, I feel like is I don't know. I feel like Bunny 8's an S tier character. I don't think she's like that godlike broken where she needs to be in this like SS tier. I think she's really good for the Pierce team. But other than that, like, that's really all I could say. She's like really good for the Pierce team. And like, if we're talking about burst 2, I feel like she's only high up there in burst 2 because we don't have that many good burst 2s. But yeah, and same thing with Milk. I think Milk is a great character. I think Milk is very powerful. I don't think Milk hits harder than any of the DPSs in the SS tier at all. But she is very powerful. I think the only thing I have an issue with is the fact that you actually have to like time her mechanic, because like essentially you have to hold her normal attack for a second, but you gotta wait like 40 seconds and then to use it again. It's a bit like it hurts your brain, but if you just know how to use the character, you know how to use the character. If you don't, then you don't. But like realistically, you just have to like kind of time when to use her buffs to have it up all the time. I think Jill is a decent character, but nothing too crazy. I think Jill is just kind of like Julia, in my opinion. I think she's a decent DPS, but like it's more so like she can do damage, but she's not like a first, second, or third. You're not even a fourth pick. I think I would just use her just because like I wanted to use her and I know she could actually do damage. Ada Wong, though, is a different story. I think Ada Wong is one of the best supporters in the game. Like one of those best Flex Burst 3 DPS buffer supporters in the game. I think so. This character, I love the fact that she can give an attack buff, true damage buff, and heal, right, to any burst 3 that uses their burst skill, right? Maybe SS tier is a reach. It could be a possible reach, but she does damage herself, and I think she does a lot of damage. She could do a lot of damage herself, realistically, so I'm gonna have to put her up there. I think Diesel is the same thing as Bey, another very good option for tank, but other than that, it's just more of a niche character, but like a good niche, hence why she's in that A tier. Nayuta is one of the best characters that dropped this year easily. Too good. Like competitor, a contender for best burst 2, competitor with crown, AoE central, buffing central, healing central, very, very good. Obviously, we have the strongest mob clear. We have the strongest win DPS in the game, Liberalia. Anniversary characters should just have been obvious that those characters were like making it to the SS tier. Both of them are phenomenal. I don't think I need to explain much about Liberalia or Nayuta. Chime, I'm gonna have to put her in like that B tier. I think she's good for crown, but that's it, right? But it's like basically what Isabel is, or what Arcana is for Isabel. That's what Chime is for crown. That's just the simplest way to put it. I do think this Solina is actually going to be a very good character. I think a lot of people did sleep on her at first. Mind you, a lot of people before she came out said she was trash. A lot of people when she came out said she was trash, then a lot of people changed up their tune when Pridewind said she was good, which is crazy to me. It's just so crazy. I will always find it crazy how people will change their tune the moment Pridewind says something. It's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, she's really good healing and cooldown reduction, the first ever combo in the game. Now her healing isn't like she's not like a grand healer or anything like that, but to have that heal mechanic, a max HP buff and cooldown reduction is something that will benefit a lot of different teams, right? It buffs up the tactical trio team because there is healing a part of that team. It buffs up characters like Cinderella and Maiden, because those are characters who skill off HP, and then just cooldown reduction is good for any team that needs it, like the shotgun team, where this character is a shotgun as well. Not only is she a shotgun, she is of the same type of Dorothy and Tove, so when you're fighting stages where they're type advantage and the shotgun team is a meta team, Soline is also putting up very good like damage. Give Soline overload gear with attack percent elemental damage and see how much she hits on that shotgun team. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I think Brit is quite meta. I think Brit is going to be a character that is going to just always be like a great option to just have if you need a flex burst 2 that is increasing damage taken to win code enemies, or just a burst 2 that could like just do decent AoE every time you enter a full burst without having to use their burst skill, right? Like realistically, you can get a crazy like burst skill level AoE offer for every burst rotation while using Nayuta's burst skill. That's quite the crazy combo in my personal opinion. I think that's a ridiculous combo that you can do that, right? So I'm gonna put her up there. I think Diesel is the same thing as like Eve and Milk. I don't think she's anything too grand, but I do think she is like not a bad character. I think she's a great DPS, just nothing really more than that. I don't think she's like that godlike of a DPS where I'm putting her in my SS tier. She's definitely not a first pick, but hey, she's not bad at all, right? When it comes to Anchor and when it comes to Mast, I'm gonna put them both in SS tier of 2025. I think I should probably state this because you guys are probably like, oh no way all these characters are SS tier. No, I mean of 2025, these are like the SS tier characters of 2025. 110%, right? I think those two are just phenomenal. I was so disappointed and upset for like months because I did not have access to that team, and now I have access to that team and they're just phenomenal, right? Attack buff, healing, distributed damage buff, just so much happening. Crit rate, crit damage, is so much happening with those two. I believe they have crit rate and crit damage, I believe, but it's just so much with those two, which is crazy. Asuka, I'm gonna have to put Asuka in that S tier. I would have put her in SS, but then they dropped Liberailio and Nayuta, and I think with the release of Liberailio and Nayuta and both of them being win characters kind of just shut down Asuka, right? I think that's what shut down Asuka. She would have easily have been in that SS tier had those two not been wind, but those two just made it that Asuka will not even be looked at to be a Kraken unit, because now you have Nayuta, Little Mermaid, Scarlet Black Shadow, and Liberailio. Asuka, the only reason why you're using Asuka is because you don't have those characters. That's it. But if we're talking about her as a solo character, I mean, compared to other win DPSs, again, there's not really much to compete with before Nayuta and Liberailio, right? All she was competing with was Scarlet Black Shadow. That's why she was so good for the win team, right? So I feel like now that there's more win DPSs and more options, now you kind of see how like Asuka's not that crazy compared to those characters, but that's just my personal opinion. I think Breddy is a same thing as Jill and Julia. Just a very like she can hit hard for a water character. She can hit hard, but just not a first pick or a second pick or a third pick. I think Crust is like, honestly, I don't think Crust is that crazy of a support. I mean, I think she's good for like sustained damage and distributed damage, but it's just not really that crazy. I think I just want to pull up her kit. I know she's caters more to one of the two buffs. Where is Crust? I know she caters to one of the two buffs more. Yeah, distributed damage. She's more of a distributed damage character buffer than a sustained damage buffer. And like, I feel like with distributed damage now, there's just no need for it. There's way too much with Mast and Anchor. Other than that, she's not really that crazy. Favorite item, Drake, I will have to put in SS tier. Again, shotgun team is way too meta. It's just way too meta now. And Drake is a character who her favorite item was free and stuff like that as well. Just a phenomenal character all around. I mean, realistically, I think Drake should be in the S tier. I don't think Drake is an SS character. I think she's an S tier. She's like the same thing as Asuka, the same thing as Milk, the same thing as Diesel, the same thing as Eve. She's the same thing as those characters, in my personal opinion. Helm is definitely an SS character. The fact that Helm was the first ever Nikke banner unit and like ended up being sorry, and then with a favorite item she ended up being a top 5 character in the game is crazy to me, right? I will always have her up there because she's just so good, right? Helm is too good. Cooldown, not cooldown reduction, field burst gauge, an attack damage buff, phenomenal healing off that burst skill, very good damage, a crit rate buff to normal attacks, too good. Mana is that S tier character. I feel like Mana is more so a sub DPS than a DPS. I feel like she's really good, especially since she has very good healing, revive, and she can actually put up a lot of numbers, right? Like realistically, if the meta was still Scarlet Black Shadow and then like Asuka, you could switch Asuka for Mana and probably still get good numbers, right? Like Mana can hit as hard as Asuka at some situations, I feel like. No, because I have both of them very built, and like I think Mana is still a bit weaker than Asuka, but Mana is definitely still useful. Mihara is an SS character, phenomenal for fire bosses. She's like a second pick. Right after Rappy, she's a second pick, which let me just not even waste our time. Rappy's the best character in the game. Of course, she's going to be an SS character. Milk was a disappointment. There's nothing more to it. Mori was a disappointment. There's absolutely nothing more to it. Ray, I feel like Ray is... I don't feel like Ray is as strong as Asuka. But I think she's kind of like on par with Mari, in my opinion. Not Mari, with Mana, in my opinion. Just better in the DPS department, but I feel like as an overall role player, I think like they're even. Maybe Mana might be a bit better as an overall role player for the win team, but that's just my personal opinion, of course. Little Mermaid, again, top 3 character of the game. Sora, unfortunately, with ass. I think Trina is actually an S tier character. I know Trina herself isn't the craziest, but the buff she has for the electric characters, especially Scarlet, Trina and Scarlet are meta in a lot of things. They're meta for bosses, they're meta for mobs, and they're meta for PvP. Realistically, she should be an SS character for reviving Scarlet like that. I feel like just because of that, she should be an SS character. She's gonna be an SS character. And then obviously Miranda, I think Miranda's buffs are good, but just not anything too grand where she needs to be like S tier or anything like that. So this is going to be the 2025 tier list. If you guys take a look at this, yeah, the fact that more of them are in SS and S tier for 2025 releases are crazy. That's just ridiculous. And I want to compare it to my 2024 one, because like I said, I did do a 2024 tier list of like those characters. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I ranked every character in Nikke 2024. I don't know if that's what it was. I know I did a video of me ranking every single character that came out in 2024. Let me pause this video and find it real quick. I don't know. I guess I did. I think I did. I ranked every character in 2024, but I don't think I actually did a like 2024 exclusive one. So I thought I did. Well, I mean, I guess now this will be like a new thing on the channel where I rank every single character that came. Cause let me see this one. Yeah, this tier list has characters that came out in 2023. Literally, and also characters that came out yeah, characters 2022, 2023, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, this right here is just gonna be what it is for the 2025 one. Let me know if you guys agree or if you guys disagree. Either or, it's fine, but it's gonna be your boy Zxous. What do you guys think? Let me know. Boy Zxous, and I love you guys. I'm out later. Peace.